Hi YouTube, good afternoon, my friends and family and my fellow subscribers. I'm here today to make a video. This video is gonna be a series. I'm gonna title this series, How I Went About Acquiring My First Income Rental Property, and how this will be the first of many on my journey to become a real estate investor. So, let me give you the backstory. So, I am not a first time home buyer. This is not my first house. And I used my first house, which was always my thought of using my primary residence as a launching pad to acquire other properties. So when the market went up, I took out a HELOC on my house. The HELOC was for 62,500. I took out a HELOC on my house in December of 2021, and January of 2022, I had my assignment at work had finished, so I was home not working, and my job put me on another assignment in Orange County, New York, which is 78 miles from my house in Connecticut. So I wanted to do the job because every other job was offering me a very huge pay cut, and this was the only job that was keeping my pay the way it was and was not giving me a big cut in pay. So I took the job and was driving 78 miles round trip every day to go back and forth to work. So I thought the job was gonna have longevity and I was gonna be there for a while. So I said, you know what? Let me look for a house. So the fear came in about, I already have a house. I'm not a first time home buyer and I'm not gonna sell my house. So I started looking. I got pre-approved for the house. Got pre-approved for around 600 and something $1,000. And I started looking. The prices of houses in Orange County in that area was shocking to me. I was like, why are they so expensive? However, everything that I bid on, I didn't get it. So looking, having to be doing this commute is stressing, and it's just costing me my job. I know it was gonna cost me my job. More on that later. But I kept on looking and I found this house. It was for sale by owner, and I kind of didn't sign an agreement with a realtor, so I was just kind of by myself. So I'm like, okay, for sale by owner. I gave her an offer, she accepted it, and I said, you know what, for sale by owner. I'm gonna buy it without a realtor myself. So I just acquired a lawyer and started the process of buying that house. When I first went and saw the house, I saw that the house was in the hood plus tax. But it didn't matter to me because I know me that I'm gonna, mind you, I bought this house FHA. And per FHA, in order for you to count the income on your primary residence, the house needs to be 100 miles away from your primary residence for the income to count. However, my house wasn't 100 miles away, and secondly, I wasn't gonna sell my house or rent my house because I just moved to the new job and I couldn't like pick my family up and do that so fast because I thought that I was gonna be at the job for a long time. However, that didn't work out and I got fired. So now I'm stuck with two houses, this house and the house in Newburgh. So the house in Newburgh is a FHA house, and because it didn't meet the 100-mile rule, it could count as my second home. So FHA gave funded the house as my second home, and that's how I acquired the house. So back to the story of the place being in the hood. I saw that the house was in the hood. However, when I stepped inside, it's like I was transported. It felt so beautiful, so peaceful inside. I'm like, okay, my idea was I'm not gonna hang out anyway outside. I'm just gonna go to work and come back home and stay inside. So I'm not gonna be interacting with anybody outside, which I think at the time was a bad idea because I'm trying to rent. I'm trying to rent one of the floors because it's a 2-floor house, 2 units. I would live in one and rent the other. So that was a bad thought. So there was so much loitering on the street and people just walking around. I went there one time and then I went there a second time and it was quiet because it was cold. So after taking acquisition of the house, I'm up there working on the house and stuff, like just prepping it for rent. And there is a bunch of loud music playing, people sitting on my block on the street just drinking and hanging out all day. And after doing my research, I found out that the house is on one of the worst streets in the neighborhood. The whole thing just is scaring the hell out of me. So fast forward back to the first week of acquiring the house. So I acquired this beautiful townhouse, brownstone, 100-year-old house in Newburgh, New York. It was completely gutted and renovated. And it is beautifully renovated. I am going to be inserting some clips of how it looks. It's a beautiful renovation. The people that renovated really put a lot of thought into it, and they renovated it beautifully. And mind you, they acquired this house in 2015 for $20,000 cash, and I ended up paying $446,603 for that house. At closing, they walked away with a check for $418,000, and the person who renovated the house, her husband did most of the work herself. So these people walked away with $200,000 plus in pure profit. So they walked away with close to probably $300,000 in pure profit. So kudos to them. That was a beautiful investment. However, when I got into the house, I didn't do an inspection because I'm very, very knowledgeable about inspections and how the house should be, because I do work in the construction industry. So I have a very good knowledge of what needs to be looked for in a house. So when I got in the house, there was a sewer scent, and I learned that the basement bathroom shower did not have a P-trap. So I reached out to the sellers to tell them. However, they're refusing to pay for anything and help me with anything. So I threatened them that I'm gonna sue them. And when you say you're gonna sue somebody, all hell breaks loose, and the communication just broke down. So being handy as I am, my husband, myself, and my dad, we dug up the bathroom. We cut out a little section. I'm gonna insert a clip of that. We dug out a section, and we dug up the pipe that didn't have the P-trap. We replaced it with a pipe that has a P-trap put it all back together. Sewer sent solved. But I am still gonna be suing the sellers for negligent misrepresentation of not disclosing that to me. Because listen, even if I had gotten an inspector would have never found that, because that was buried. How can an inspector find that? It was just by the grace of God where I went down there one day and I smelled the sewer gas. Like someone coming in their house to inspect it for a couple of hours is not gonna find that if the sewer gas decides that that day is not gonna present itself. Especially because the house sat there vacant, it wasn't being used. So nothing was really going into the sewer that much. And when I started using it, that's what happened. So I found that out, and my claim, I'm gonna sue them in small claims court, and my claim is that they negligently misrepresented the condition of the plumbing, and I could have never known that, and they claim that they did a gut reno, so they should have known that, and that's my argument for court. However, moving on from that, the house got rented. I closed on it on the Thursday, and it got rented that weekend. It got rented. I posted it on Zillow for rent, and two girls applied. I was over the moon because I had listed it for $2,500, and they applied, and I invited them to pay the security deposit. So they paid the security deposit of $2,500 on June 7th. June 8th, I lost my job. So I'm like, oh my God. I closed on this house the 2nd. I lost my job on the 8th. So I'm like, holy crap, this is bad. So the girls are in the Army. There's West Point up there. So they were supposed to start working on the 24th, and they rented the house as roommates. Each of them were making $50,000. So combined, they were making $100,000. And I knew that these girls were gonna be good tenants, and they were gonna pay me rent on time, and it was just gonna be a good situation. However, they were supposed to move in on the 19th, Father's Day. The 19th, me and my husband was there doing last minute touches and getting everything prepared. So the 19th in the morning, we were there. The girls didn't come. We left there around 1 o'clock. They did not come. So I started to get worried. Before they moved in, I began to get worried because I'm like, you know what? This neighborhood is not nice. This neighborhood is very bad. And I don't think these Caucasian girls, 25 years old, girls are going to be comfortable in this situation, because they're going to be working long hours, coming in late, and there's no parking. The neighborhood is just very sketchy. And I'm like, I was worried. My friend told me that they were going to not move in. And I believed too that they were not going to move into the house because it was just bad. And the 19th, they didn't move in. I had installed a Ring security system throughout the house. So if they had came inside, I would have gotten an alert that they're there. 19th, they didn't show up. The 20th, I went up there. The girls did not show up. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? I went up there and I was driving home in traffic. I saw an email from them. My heart dropped. They said due to this and that and the third, they're no longer gonna be moving in. But they blamed it on other reasons, but I know it's because of the neighborhood. They rented the place sight unseen. And when they moved up there to move in, the neighborhood was just not what they expected. And they just said, to hell with this, I'm not moving in. And they didn't move in. And this is my very first experience. This is my very first time doing this, so I felt sorry for them. I did feel sorry for them. They didn't ask me back for their security deposit. They offered it up, but I believe the army is gonna reimburse them for all of this. So they offered up the security deposit. I spoke to them. I apologized and all these stuff. I just felt so bad, and they decided not to move in. So they had sent furniture there into the house, and they still haven't gone to the house to retrieve it. Even though I have a smart lock on the door and they have their code to go in, they still haven't gone back to the house to get the furniture that they left there. They're that scared. So lesson learned is never rent sight unseen. And even if I do, I am gonna strictly uphold the lease, and they have to pay me until I find a new tenant. That's on my lease, and I should have upheld it, but I was just sorry for them. And they just have to pay me until whomever does that again will have to pay me until I get a new tenant, because I lost a lot of potential people that could have rented the place that didn't. So lesson learned there. So I think the series, it's gonna be a series, but the videos are longer. So let's go back to talking about me acquiring this place. So as I said, I got the HELOC. When I got the HELOC, I could have put 20% down. However, 20% down was gonna take all my money, and thank God I didn't, because I didn't know they were gonna fire me. I didn't know that. I kind of knew it was my fault, because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing at my job. So you always are the one that fires yourself. You have to do what you know you're supposed to do in order to keep your job. But I was just being naive. But in the past month, life has taught me some very strong lessons, and I'm a stronger woman as a result. So let's look at the numbers for this house. So I found this, I was just researching in my research before I got the property, which I should take emotions out of my decisions. All my future decisions, I will take emotions out and purely look at the numbers. I will never buy a property in a neighborhood like that ever again. Even though they say Newburgh is up and coming, it's being gentrified, but it's slowly happening. So right now, all I'm praying for is for the place to be rented, and I make my mortgage payments every month, which is around $3,150, I believe, for the payments. So let's dive into the numbers. I got this spreadsheet from healthywealthywiseproject.com, and honestly, I think it's $40. It's the best spreadsheet I've ever seen. It's the best spreadsheet I've ever seen, and this is what I'm using. So I bought the house for $446,603. I paid $15,631 as a down payment, 3.5%. I had closing costs of $13,822. Thanks to my job has a MetLife legal plan, and on that plan they do cover real estate purchases. So the real estate fees are paid through the plan. Because in the state of New York, the bank has to have an attorney, so their fees need to be paid, and the plan pays that. So I still need to contact my plan to have them pay that real estate, the bank's attorney's fee, which was around $3,000. I don't know why buying real estate is so expensive. Anyway, when it was all said and done, the loan amount was $430,971.90, and I had an interest rate. I got an interest rate of 4.25%. That's on a 638 credit score. My husband's credit score was 638, his middle score, and I got the loan from Bank of America, which is one of the strictest banks I've ever dealt with. They are super strict. Oh my God, they're just hands down the strictest bank to deal with. So my total principal and interest is $2,120. My PMI is 302.93. My insurance is $131.25 a month, and my taxes is $267.88 a month. The total taxes for this place is $3,215, and the insurance per year is $1,575. So let me get into some situations here. So basically, when I got the property, they were financing the upfront mortgage insurance. They were financing it into the loan, and when you do that, that just makes the loan more expensive. The loan is already expensive, but when you finance the upfront mortgage insurance into the loan, it makes it even more expensive. But I had the money to not do that. So I just called my loan officer to have her remove it from the loan, because what happened was, because this house was for sale by owner, the sellers were a bit more lenient because she wasn't using a realtor, nothing. I just bought it from her. So she made pure profit except for paying the lawyer, paying the taxes. That's the only thing she did, was pay the lawyer and the taxes. She did nothing else. She sold it by herself, and I bought it from her. So we had to do a lot of back and forth, a lot of work. It took around over 45 days to close, and it eventually closed. So what I did is that upfront mortgage insurance, right? I had asked her to give me 1.5% in a seller's concession. And then when I learned that the mortgage insurance was 1.75%, I asked her to give me 1.75% in a concession. So what that did was that covered the mortgage insurance. So I didn't have to pay the mortgage insurance. So because that 1.75% that she gave me covered it. So it's like a wash. But anyway, you know what? I overbought this house anyway. I paid too much money for it. So in any event, that's what happened. So I'm looking at my closing cost details here. So on this house, the origination fee was $11.90. That's what Bank of America charged. They charged me $1,000 for the appraisal, which I'm contesting because the receipt that I got only said $600. So what did they do with my other $300? So hey, I'm contesting that because I need money. I need my money back. So they charged me $29 for a credit report fee. The upfront mortgage insurance was $7,542. They charged me a flood cert fee for $4, life of loan flood monitoring $8, and an $86 tax servicing fee. And this was their loan estimate. Let me see the official closing document. Try to find it. Is this it? Yeah. Is this it? Yeah. Okay, so this is it. The official closing document. So then I had the title services that I had to pay to a lawyer. I had to pay the lawyer she charged $3,998.53 for her services, which I am going to put this claim over to my job, which I don't have that job anymore. I got fired, but the date of the service I was still employed, so they should honor this and give me, hopefully I could get $4,000 in my pocket. Then I had to pay recording fees, $540.50. I had to pay state tax, $3,447.10. I think this is the tax that I have to pay. No. I had to pay tax on the purchase. Then I had to pay prepaid insurance of $50.18. But because I didn't close on the last day of the month, I closed on the second day of the next month, so I ended up having to pay $1,400 plus in prepaid interest because I was dealing with some effed up. My lawyer was effed up. I don't speak to him. The whole process was stressful. I should have, God was telling me not to buy that house, but I pushed through and I bought it anyway because I'm determined like that and I don't really listen. So I make mistakes, and this was a $446,000 mistake. Like, this is huge. So learn from me. Just try to slow down. I don't slow down that much, and that's a bad thing. And this is the first and the last of my mistakes like this. I am just not gonna be doing this anymore. This is a lot of money that I paid, mistake that I made. So I got a credit of it's an aggregate adjustment of $1,200 and something. I don't know what that is. Then I had to pay title insurance owners $618, which was optional. Then Bank of America gave me a lender credit of $1,073.12. So going down to it, if everything worked out, my cash to close would be $6,296.22. Mind you, I put $20,000 down on this property, so they took $15,000 out of the $632 out of the $20,000. So I think like 4,000 something it should be left. And then I got a seller credit of 7,815.55. And I don't know. I still owe them $6,000, so I had to come up 26,000 total. So I had paid my insurance from my credit card. I paid for that. So at closing, I had to cut a check of $7,400 and something dollars. So in total, I paid $29,453 for this house. To get in this house, that's what I paid. With the closing costs, the down payment, and the closing costs was $29,000. So let's say $29,500 I got my first property for. So based on the calculator, I had rented out the property for $2,500, but the girls backed out of the deal. So now the property lays vacant, and my first mortgage payment is due 8/1. So I'm praying and hoping that I get it rented. But the top floor, since I was going to live there, but I can't live there full time anymore because I don't have a job there anymore. So I was planning to do Airbnb. I am planning to do Airbnb with it, and I will do Airbnb with it. So hopefully the house makes me money. So the based on the calculator here, I have a cash flow before tax of $13,229. That's if I rent out unit 1 for $2,500 and unit 2 for $1,700. If I could get $1,700 a month for units, so basically that would be $50,400 a year in income from the units. And my cash flow before taxes, so my GOI, gross operating income, would be $48,180. My operating expense will be $9,510. So my NOI is $38,670. My debt service is $25,441. So when they say debt service, that's just principal and interest. They're not counting tax and insurance. Tax, insurance, and PMI is not in that debt service. So I guess my cash flow will be less money because my debt service is pretty high. So cash flow is $13,229 a year. And percentage. So my gross rent multiplier is 8.86. My first year cash on cash return is 44.9. My cap rate is 9.7, and my return on equity is 130.2. So within my first year, right? This spreadsheet goes for 10 years. So my first year NOI is $38,670. Year 2, $39,254. Year 3, $39,841, and it goes up all the way to year 10 of $44,044. They have this spreadsheet gives a good thing of my debt service ratio. So if your debt service ratio is below 1, that means it's a bad investment and it's not making enough money to meet your debt obligations. But the debt service ratio on this house, if I get it rented for the monies, is a 1.52, and by year 10 it turns into a 1.73. So if the Airbnb really kicks off, I'll be making a lot of money on this house. A lot of money on this house. Even though it's in a bad area, I just might keep it because it will be making me a lot of money. So my cash flow after year one, if I sold it after year one, I'll just make $12,925. If I sold it after year two, I'll make $68,656. And if I sold it after year 10, I'll make $320,000. If I sold it. So this takes into account appreciation and a bunch of different crap this mathematician or this person who built this spreadsheet does. So, but my cash flow it starts in year one at $13,226, and then it goes to year 10, $18,603. And this house, the maintenance, because everything in the house was just done brand new, I don't see a lot of maintenance that needs to be done. The sellers put a brand new tankless water heating system in the house. $15,000 they put in it. I'm sure it's still under warranty. I'm sure it's under warranty, and whomever that fixed it, I could call them. So that's brand new. They did a good job of renovating it. There's some quirks that I need to fix, like the kitchen upstairs, it backs up because he did it himself and he quite frankly didn't know what he was doing. So the flow of the water is not on a slant, so the water just fills up and just slowly drains. But I'm gonna fix that by putting a garbage disposal on there. That's the unit that I want to use as an Airbnb. So I'm gonna fix it and put a garbage disposal on there. And but nonetheless, the rest of the property is beautiful inside. It's beautiful. It's just a neighborhood. It's hood. I've lived in the hood, so I know what hood is like. I've lived in the hood. I've lived in the hood where I'm walking down the street and a guy just grabs my ass in the middle of the street, like on the sidewalk. I'm walking to work and he just grabs my ass. So I've lived in the hood. So there's a certain amount of people that won't mind. They'll appreciate a brand new property. And when I put the pictures, I insert the pictures, you guys are gonna agree, the property is beautiful. And someone will appreciate it. Someone on Section 8 won't mess it up, because if they mess it up, they'll lose their Section 8. So someone will appreciate that property, and I'm just gonna go with faith, and hopefully everything works out. And if it doesn't, I'm selling it. I'm sorry. And it's right now it's an hour and 20 minutes away from me, so it's kind of more of a hassle to have it. So I'm just gonna see. I put $30,000 into it to get it, and if it doesn't rent, I'm gonna have to pay holding costs. I have to pay. Let me see how much. I have to pay. My annual principal and interest is $25,441 plus. Okay, I'll come and get it. Plus, I have to pay tax, insurance, and PMI. So PMI is $302 a month. Let's see how much that is a year. So let me see how much I'd have to pay. So $25,441 plus 302.93 times 12 plus 1575 plus 267.88 times 12. So basically 33,865 and 72 cents in costs for the house, plus the utilities that I would have to pay. I am coming. The utilities that I have to pay. So basically every year if I hold it and it's not rented, I'd have to pay around 33,000, around, let's say 34,000 a month, or $35,000. So every year I have to hold it. I want to make that money back, plus the money I put to invest it. So let's just hope and pray to God that it works out that way. However, I will insert clips of what I've done. And right now I have the property listed with a realtor to get it rented. I have a designer designing the upstairs apartment to have that go on Airbnb. So I just want to see what's going to happen. And you guys stay tuned. You guys just stay tuned for what's going to happen in this journey. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll have another video soon. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.